They say Kansas is flat, quiet, and peaceful, until you hear the screams echoing from the places time tried to forget. Because beneath its golden fields and small-town charm, Kansas hides something chilling: ghosts that walk its hotels, forts, cemeteries, and forgotten roads. From cursed wells that pull you under to haunted mansions where the past still breathes. Each story will take you deeper into the dark heart of America's heartland. Welcome to the top 15 haunted places in Kansas where history never dies, and neither do the ones who lived it. One, Sallie House, Atchison. Atchison. They say the house on North 2nd Street looks ordinary: white walls, a red roof, a charming small-town feel. But once you step inside, the air changes. The Sallie House doesn't just feel haunted, it feels alive. The story begins in the early 1900s, when a 6-year-old girl named Sallie supposedly died during a failed surgery in that very house. Locals claim her spirit never left. But what's terrifying isn't just the legend, it's the evidence left behind. Over the years, visitors have reported lights flickering, toys moving by themselves, and the eerie sound of a child's laughter echoing from empty rooms. Some even say they felt invisible hands scratching their skin, as if Sallie herself was angry or trying to communicate. One former tenant, a young man, woke up in the middle of the night with burning claw marks across his chest. No one could explain how they got there. Paranormal teams who dared to investigate captured cold spots, whispers caught on tape, and a child's giggle that chilled even the bravest skeptics. The town of Atchison doesn't like to talk about the house. Some call it cursed, others a gateway. But everyone agrees on one thing: something in that house wants attention. Maybe Sallie was an innocent soul who never found peace. Or maybe something darker hides behind her name. If you ever visit Atchison, you might feel tempted to peek inside the Sallie House. But remember, once you open that door, you might not be alone anymore. Are you brave enough to find out what Sallie wants? 2. 1889, McIntyre Villa, Atchison. At first glance, the 1889 McIntyre Villa looks like a grand Victorian mansion. Its red brick facade, tall spires, and ornate windows whisper of wealth and elegance. But behind its beauty lies something far more sinister. Built by Irish immigrant John McIntyre, the home has witnessed over a century of unexplained deaths, grief, and chilling encounters. Locals say that once you cross its threshold, you can feel the house watching you. After McIntyre's death, the mansion became a boarding house, and that's when the hauntings began. Tenants would wake to the sound of heavy boots pacing the hallway at night, though no one was there. Doors slammed by themselves, mirrors cracked without reason, and sometimes, late at night, the faint melody of an old piano drifts through the halls, even though the piano has been untouched for decades. Visitors describe shadowy figures standing at the top of the grand staircase, vanishing the moment you blink. Some say the ghost of a mourning widow appears in the upstairs window, staring out toward the cemetery across the street where many of the villa's former residents now rest. Paranormal investigators have captured cold spots, disembodied voices calling their names, and sudden drops in temperature that defy all logic. But perhaps the most disturbing reports come from those who stay overnight. They claim to wake up to whispers right beside their ear, and a sensation of someone gently brushing their hair. The McIntyre Villa doesn't just haunt, it engages. It wants to be known, remembered, and feared. So if you ever find yourself in Atchison and see that grand, silent house on North 2nd Street. Think twice before stepping in. The spirits there have been waiting a long time for someone exactly like you. 3. Old Abilene Town, Abilene, by day. Old Abilene Town feels like a living museum, a nostalgic glimpse into the Wild West. Wooden saloons creak in the Kansas wind. Horses clop down dusty streets, and the echoes of laughter from cowboy reenactments fill the air. But when night falls, the show ends, and the real ghosts take the stage. Locals whisper that the spirits of gunslingers, gamblers, and outlaws who once roamed these streets never truly left. Built to preserve the memory of Abilene's rough frontier past, Old Abilene Town sits on haunted ground where shootouts, betrayals, and unsolved murders were once common. Visitors after dark report hearing gunshots in the distance, followed by the slow echo of boots walking across empty boardwalks. Inside the Alamo Saloon, glasses rattle on their own, and some have seen a cowboy in a black hat sitting silently at the bar, fading into thin air when approached. The sound of piano music sometimes drifts from the dance hall long after the doors are locked. One night, a caretaker swore he saw the reflection of a woman in a red dress staring back at him from a mirror, though he was completely alone. Another visitor claimed he felt a cold hand grip his shoulder just before the lights went out, leaving him frozen in fear. Many say these restless spirits are reenacting their final moments, caught in an endless loop of the past, unable to leave the dusty streets where they met their fate. The line between history and haunting blurs here, in a town where death was once just another part of life. So if you ever find yourself in Old Abilene Town after sundown, listen carefully. That faint laughter you hear might not be from the living, and the next set of footsteps echoing behind you might not belong to anyone at all. 4. The Rookery, Fort Leavenworth, standing proudly on the grounds of Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. The Rookery is more than just the oldest house still in use on the base. It's one of the most haunted places in America. Built in the 1830s, its grand white columns and historic charm hide a darkness that has lingered for nearly 2 centuries. Soldiers and families who've lived there tell stories of footsteps echoing through empty halls, lights flickering at midnight, and ghostly figures staring from upstairs windows long after everyone has gone to bed. The legend begins with tragedy. During the Civil War, the fort was a place of violence and sorrow. Some say the spirit of a woman in a long gray dress wanders the halls, forever searching for her lost husband who never returned from battle. Others report a soldier's apparition standing guard at the door, his eyes hollow, his presence cold as winter air. There are also tales of children's laughter echoing faintly in the dead of night, though no children have lived there for years. One family who stayed at the Rookery claimed to be awakened night after night by heavy footsteps climbing the stairs, followed by the unmistakable scent of pipe smoke. When they opened the door, no one was there. Paranormal teams have recorded strange electromagnetic spikes, disembodied whispers, and sudden temperature drops, as if the house itself is breathing in sorrow. Despite its beauty, the Rookery carries the weight of the fort's grim past executions, unmarked graves, and countless souls lost to time. It's said that once you enter, you can feel history pressing against you, watching, waiting. If you ever stand before the Rookery's silent porch as the sun sets behind the Missouri River, listen closely. The house might just whisper back, reminding you that at Fort Leavenworth, the dead are never truly gone. 5. Stull Cemetery. Stull Hidden deep in the Kansas countryside lies Stull Cemetery, a place so infamous that even locals refuse to drive past it after dark. By day, it looks like any other small-town graveyard, crumbling tombstones, a few gnarled trees, the whisper of the prairie wind. But when night falls, the air grows unnaturally still, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Legend says that Stull Cemetery is one of the 7 gateways to hell. The stories began in the 1800s, when strange deaths and unexplained disappearances plagued the area. The old stone church that once stood in the cemetery was said to be cursed, its roof gone. Yet rain never touched its floor. Locals claimed that on Halloween and the spring equinox, the devil himself would appear inside those ruins. Drawn by the restless souls buried beneath, witnesses spoke of hooded figures gathering at midnight, of shadows moving against the moonlight, and of screams that seemed to come from underground. Even after the church was demolished, the hauntings never stopped. Visitors report sudden gusts of freezing wind, unmarked graves that shift overnight, and claw-like scratches appearing on their cars. Some have heard deep growls coming from the empty field, while others say they were followed by unseen footsteps until they fled in terror. Phones and cameras die instantly inside the cemetery, as if something doesn't want its secrets revealed. Police have closed the grounds at night, warning trespassers to stay away, but curiosity always wins. Every year, thrill seekers sneak through the rusted gates, hoping for a glimpse of the supernatural. Most leave shaken. A few never speak of what they saw. If you ever find yourself near Stull Cemetery after dark, resist the temptation to enter, because once you cross that gate, you may not be walking on holy ground anymore. You may be standing on the edge of hell itself. 6. Eldridge Hotel, Lawrence. In the heart of downtown Lawrence, Kansas, stands the elegant and historic Eldridge Hotel, a place where luxury meets legend and where the past refuses to stay buried. By day, it welcomes guests with polished marble floors, soft lighting, and the charm of old-world grandeur. But when the lights dim and the halls fall silent, the air changes. The Eldridge becomes something else alive with whispers of those who never checked out. The story of the Eldridge is written in fire and blood. Originally built in 1855 as the Free State Hotel, it was twice burned to the ground, first by pro-slavery raiders, then again during Quantrill's infamous massacre of Lawrence in 1863. Each time, it was rebuilt, brick by brick, on the same cursed ground. Some say that's where its hauntings began, that the spirits of those who perished in the flames never left. Guests staying in room 506 tell of lights flickering on and off, doors opening by themselves, and sudden chills that make their breath visible in the air. Many have seen the faint outline of a man standing near the window, a shadowy figure believed to be Colonel Shaler Eldridge himself, the hotel's original builder, forever watching over his creation. Others hear footsteps pacing the empty hallway, or soft whispers calling their name in the dead of night. Employees have reported objects moving on their own and elevators that seem to run with no one inside. Even seasoned paranormal investigators admit there's something powerful in the building, something protective, but restless. The Eldridge Hotel stands as both monument and mystery, a place where history lingers just beyond sight. So if you ever find yourself there, standing before room 506 with your key trembling in your hand, take a deep breath before you open that door. Because once you do, you might find that the past at the Eldridge Hotel is still very much alive. 7. Sour Castle, Kansas City, perched on a lonely hill overlooking Kansas City. Sour Castle stands like a frozen memory of love, loss, and lingering sorrow. Its once beautiful Italianate architecture, now weathered and crumbling, hides a history so tragic that locals whisper it's cursed. The mansion's tall iron gates creak in the wind, as if warning visitors to stay away. Yet those who dare to approach say the house seems to watch them, its dark windows like hollow eyes. Built in the 1870s by German immigrant Anton Sauer, the castle was meant to be a family home filled with laughter and light. But fate had other plans. After Anton's wife died in childbirth, the family was struck by a series of misfortunes, mysterious deaths, suicides, and heartbreak that spanned generations. They say grief soaked into the walls, turning the house into a prison for lost souls. Neighbors report ghostly figures moving past the windows, though the house has long been empty. At night, a dim light sometimes flickers from the tower room where Anton's son is said to have taken his own life. Visitors have heard whispers echoing through the halls, the soft cry of a woman, and the sound of music from a long broken piano. One man claimed he saw a woman in a Victorian dress standing by the balcony, gazing toward the river before she vanished into thin air. Paranormal investigators who've entered the house describe a heavy, suffocating energy, cold spots, sudden temperature drops, and the feeling of unseen eyes following them from room to room. Some say it's Anton, still mourning the life he lost. Others believe darker entities have claimed the castle as their own. Whatever the truth, Sour Castle stands as one of Kansas City's most haunted landmarks, a place where tragedy became eternal. And if you ever stand beneath its shadow at night, listening to the wind whisper through its broken windows, you might realize the dead here aren't just memories. They're waiting for someone to come home. Fate. Hotel Josephine, Holton. At first glance, Hotel Josephine in Holton, Kansas, seems like a charming relic from another time, a cozy boutique inn with antique furniture, velvet drapes, and the warm glow of old chandeliers. But behind that welcoming smile lies a chilling secret. Built in 1889, the hotel has hosted travelers, soldiers, and drifters for over a century, and some of them never truly left. Locals say the walls remember everything, every laugh, every cry, every scream. The hotel's founder, A. D. Walker, named it after his daughter, Josephine. But ever since her mysterious death, guests have reported seeing the ghost of a young woman wandering the halls in a flowing white gown, her footsteps echoing softly at midnight. Some claim she's looking for her father. Others believe she's protecting the place that bears her name. In room 204, strange things happen when the clock strikes 3, lights flicker, bed sheets pull tight on their own, and guests have heard a woman's voice whisper, "Don't go." Employees speak of objects moving across the lobby, the piano playing by itself, and a shadowy figure that lingers near the staircase, sometimes visible in mirrors, sometimes standing right behind you. Paranormal teams have recorded eerie EVP voices saying names, asking for help, even humming an old tune that no one recognizes. But not all the spirits in Hotel Josephine are gentle. Some guests report being touched, shoved, or having doors slam violently in their faces. One visitor woke up to see a man in an old military uniform staring at him from the foot of the bed, his eyes dark, unblinking. Despite its haunted reputation, Hotel Josephine continues to welcome guests brave enough to stay overnight. But if you do, keep your light on and your door locked, because in this hotel, you're never truly alone, and Josephine might just come to check if you've made yourself at home. 9. Old Cowtown Museum, Wichita. In the heart of Wichita, Kansas. The Old Cowtown Museum brings the Old West to life: dusty streets, wooden storefronts, and the smell of leather and smoke drifting through the air. By day, it's a family attraction where visitors step back in time. But when the sun dips behind the prairie and the last tourist leaves, Cowtown becomes something far more unsettling. The laughter fades, the wind dies down, and the ghosts of the 1800s return to reclaim their town. The museum sits on land soaked with history, real buildings from Wichita's frontier past, moved here plank by plank. Saloon fights, outlaw shootouts, and tragic deaths once filled these same streets. And it seems their echoes never faded. Security guards tell stories of boots clomping across the wooden sidewalks when no one's there, of curtains shifting inside locked buildings, and of faint country music playing from the saloon long after midnight. One of the eeriest spots is the jailhouse. Visitors have reported cold drafts, whispers saying their names, and the rattle of metal chains that no one can explain. In the blacksmith's shop, tools fall from their hooks, and the smell of smoke fills the air, though no fire burns. Paranormal investigators have captured strange orbs and voices on tape. One recording caught a man saying, "Get out," followed by a deep growl that froze everyone in place. Even the staff admit there's something alive in the silence of Cowtown. Some believe it's the spirits of settlers and cowboys reliving their last moments. Others think the museum itself has become a magnet for the restless dead. If you ever walk those empty streets after dark, you might hear the creak of swinging saloon doors or feel a cold hand brush your shoulder. And if you turn around, you might find that the Old West never really died. It's just waiting for nightfall to ride again. 10. Orpheum Theater, Wichita. The Orpheum Theater in downtown Wichita is a place of beauty and grandeur. Its golden chandeliers, velvet seats, and ornate ceiling a tribute to the glamour of a bygone era. But when the last curtain falls and the audience has gone home, the real show begins. Beneath the stage lights and the scent of old wood and dust, something unseen stirs. The Orpheum is alive with ghosts who never stopped performing. Built in 1922, the theater hosted vaudeville stars, silent films, and orchestras for decades. But behind the applause, tragedy struck more than once, actors collapsing mid-performance, workers dying in freak accidents, and an audience member who never made it out of her seat. Ever since, the Orpheum has had a reputation for strange occurrences that defy explanation. Stagehands speak of footsteps pacing the catwalks when no one's up there. The faint sound of applause sometimes fills the empty auditorium, followed by a woman's laughter echoing through the balcony. In the dressing rooms, mirrors fog up on their own, and faint words appear, scrawled by unseen hands. A figure in a white dress has been seen wandering near the stage, believed to be the spirit of a young actress who died before her debut performance. Some nights, the heavy red curtains move as if caught in a breeze, though the air is perfectly still. Technicians who've stayed late to repair lights or sound equipment often leave abruptly, shaken by cold drafts and whispers that seem to come from the shadows. Paranormal teams report strange EMF spikes near the orchestra pit and recordings of distant humming like someone softly warming up their voice. The Orpheum Theater remains a jewel of Wichita's history. But its beauty hides something eternal. They say the spirits here are drawn to the spotlight, unable to leave the stage that once defined their lives. So if you ever sit alone in the darkened theater and feel the air grow heavy, don't panic. It's just the ghosts, waiting for their cue. "11. Drury Plaza, Hotel Broadview, Wichita, standing proudly along the banks of the Arkansas River. The Drury Plaza Hotel Broadview is one of Wichita's most historic landmarks, a place where elegance and the supernatural share the same hallways. Built in 1922, the Broadview has hosted politicians, celebrities, and travelers from every corner of the world. But behind its polished marble floors and Art Deco charm lies a darkness that time has never erased. Some say the hotel is haunted by heartbreak, and that the walls remember everything. The most chilling legend is that of a bride who died on her wedding night. Decades ago. She threw herself or was pushed from a window high above the river after discovering her husband's betrayal. Since then, guests in certain rooms have reported hearing the faint sound of sobbing or seeing the reflection of a woman in a white gown standing behind them in the mirror. The scent of her perfume roses and smoke often lingers in the air long after she vanishes. Staff and guests alike speak of elevators that stop on empty floors, doors that open by themselves, and cold spots that chill you to the bone. One night, a security guard patrolling the ballroom heard music playing softly, a ghostly waltz echoing from nowhere. When he entered, the grand piano keys were moving on their own, as if invisible hands were playing a melody for a dance that never ended. Paranormal investigators have captured eerie voices, footsteps pacing the upper floors, and shadowy figures gliding down the hallways. Some believe the bride still searches for the man who betrayed her. Others think the Broadview has become a refuge for lost souls drawn to its timeless beauty. Today, the Drury Plaza Hotel stands renovated and vibrant, yet its ghosts remain. If you ever spend the night there, don't be surprised if your lights flicker or you hear a soft knock on your door at 3 a.m. It might just be the lonely bride, still waiting for her dance to end. 12. Custer House, Fort Riley, nestled within Fort Riley's historic grounds. The Custer House looks like a peaceful relic of the 19th century white picket fences, a tidy porch, and the gentle Kansas breeze whispering through the trees. But behind its inviting facade lies one of the most haunted homes in military history. Built in the 1850s, this elegant limestone house was once home to some of the Army's most notable officers, including the legendary General George Armstrong Custer. Yet it isn't fame that lingers here, it's something much darker. Visitors and soldiers stationed nearby say the Custer House never sleeps. Late at night, lights turn on by themselves. Footsteps echo through empty hallways, and doors creak open as if guided by invisible hands. Some have seen a woman in a long brown dress gliding down the staircase, her face pale and sorrowful. Others speak of a man in uniform standing at the window, staring silently out toward the parade grounds before fading into mist. One chilling tale tells of a young soldier who stayed overnight as a caretaker. Around midnight, he heard faint piano music drifting from the parlor, soft, melancholic, and unmistakably real. When he entered, the room was empty, yet the keys continued to press themselves. One by one, he fled and never returned. The paranormal energy within the Custer House is said to come from its tragic history: fires, illness, and sudden deaths that marked the lives of those who once lived there. paranormal investigators have captured cold spots. Whispers saying, "Help me," and "Don't go upstairs." And a distinct scent of cigar smoke, Custer's favorite indulgence. Today, the house serves as a museum, open to curious visitors who want to step back in time. But many who leave say they felt something watching them, something intelligent, something restless. If you ever visit, listen carefully when the wind dies and silence falls. You may just hear the faint echo of boots on the floorboards, reminding you that General Custer's house is never truly empty. 13. Lebold Mansion, Abilene, rising proudly in Abilene, Kansas. The Lebold Mansion looks like something out of a Gothic fairy tale, its tall spire, ornate stonework, and towering windows, giving it an almost regal beauty. But behind that grandeur lies a history soaked in mystery, tragedy, and whispers of the paranormal. Built in 1880 by banker Conrad Lebold, this Victorian masterpiece has seen fortunes made and lost, families broken, and countless unexplained happenings that continue to haunt its halls today. Locals say the mansion feels alive. The moment you step inside, the air grows heavy, time seems to slow. Visitors often report the sensation of being watched, their every step followed by unseen eyes. Doors creak open without a touch. Faint piano notes echo from the parlor, and soft whispers drift through the air. Too close to be imagination. Some claim to see a woman in a black mourning dress standing by the grand staircase, her eyes full of sorrow. Others have encountered a small child's laughter echoing down the hallways, though no children live there. The Lebold Mansion has endured a turbulent past. It's been a home, a boarding house, even an orphanage. Each chapter left behind layers of emotions, love, loss, despair that seem to feed the supernatural energy within its walls. Paranormal investigators have captured cold spots, strange light anomalies, and disembodied voices calling out names. One group even claimed to hear a male voice whisper, "Get out," just before every door in the room slammed shut at once. Today, the mansion stands restored, its elegance masking the restless spirits that still roam within. Those who've spent the night there describe vivid dreams, phantom footsteps pacing above them, and the unmistakable feeling of someone standing at the edge of their bed. If you ever find yourself in Abilene, you can tour the Lebold Mansion, but step carefully. Beauty and darkness coexist here, bound together by time. And once you cross its threshold, you may feel the same pull that has trapped the dead for over a century, the mansion's quiet promise that it never lets go of what's inside. 14. St. Jacob's Well, Big Basin. Hidden deep within the rugged prairie of western Kansas lies one of the state's most mysterious natural landmarks. St. Jacob's Well, a nearly perfect circular pool of dark, still water resting in the heart of Big Basin. To the untrained eye, it's just a tranquil oasis, a calm mirror beneath the endless Kansas sky. But those who know its legend speak of it with quiet voices and uneasy glances. Because St. Jacob's Well is more than just deep, it's bottomless, and it hungers. For centuries, travelers, settlers, and native tribes have told stories about the well. Some said it was sacred, others called it cursed. The water never freezes, even in the harshest winter, and no one has ever found its true depth. Horses that drink from it are said to panic and pull away, their eyes wide with terror. Cowboys from the 1800s claim they saw ghostly lights hovering over the water at night, flickering like lanterns carried by the dead. And some who ventured too close never returned. Local legend tells of a wagon train that camped nearby long ago. In the dead of night, one man followed the sound of splashing and laughter coming from the well, only to vanish without a trace. His footprints led to the edge of the water and stopped. The next morning, the surface was calm again, reflecting only the empty sky. Even modern visitors describe a chilling presence there. Phones and compasses fail near the rim, and the air feels unnaturally heavy, as if the earth itself is holding its breath. Some say they've seen pale figures moving beneath the surface faces, looking up from the depths, waiting. Scientists say it's just a natural sinkhole, fed by underground springs, but those who've stood beside it after dark tell a different story. They say St. Jacob's Well isn't a pool at all, it's a doorway. And if you stare too long into its black water, something from below might stare back. So if you ever find yourself wandering through Big Basin, listen to the wind before you approach, because the deeper you look into St. Jacob's Well, the closer it looks into you. 15. Fort Hays State Historic Site, Hays. On the windswept plains of western Kansas, where the horizon stretches endlessly beneath the burning sun, stands Fort Hays State Historic Site, a quiet collection of restored buildings that once formed the heart of a frontier outpost. By day, it feels peaceful, even nostalgic. But when night falls and the prairie wind begins to howl, the silence carries something else. Whispers of soldiers who never left their post. Built in 1865 to protect settlers and travelers along the Smoky Hill Trail, Fort Hays witnessed the harsh realities of the Wild West disease, isolation, and violent conflict. Many men died here, some in battle, others from fever or despair. Their bodies were buried on the edge of the fort. But locals believe their spirits still patrol the grounds, bound to duty even in death. Visitors after sunset often describe hearing rhythmic footsteps echoing across the parade grounds, the faint jingle of spurs, and low murmurs carried on the wind. Some claim to see a shadowy figure in a tattered blue uniform walking the perimeter, his rifle at his side, his face pale beneath the moonlight. Others have spotted a woman in 19th century dress standing by the officers' quarters, staring out toward the empty prairie before fading into the darkness inside the old barracks. The temperature drops suddenly without reason. Tools fall from their hooks, chairs scrape across the floor, and soft knocks echo from the walls as if someone's trying to get attention. A few visitors have even heard the sound of a bugle playing faintly in the distance, its notes rising and falling through the night air, calling soldiers who've been gone for more than a century. Paranormal investigators who've explored Fort Hays report strange electromagnetic spikes, whispered voices captured on recorders, and cold spots that follow them from room to room. One described it best. You don't feel alone out here. You feel observed. Today, Fort Hays stands as a monument to Kansas's frontier history, but the soldiers who once served there seem unwilling to be forgotten. So if you visit after dark, tread softly across the old parade grounds, because the watch still continues and the spirits of Fort Hays never stopped standing guard. Haunted hotels, cursed wells, restless spirits, Kansas hides more than history. But this is just the beginning. In the next episode, we'll uncover even darker legends that most people are too afraid to talk about. So, if you love true hauntings and eerie secrets, hit subscribe and stay close, because the next story might be the one that keeps you up tonight.